If you've been scrolling through endless rows of 77-inch screens, watching endless reviews, and still can't decide whether a new OLED is really worth the jump, this is the video that will finally clear the fog. I've spent the last few weeks watching movies, playing games, and actually living with the Samsung QN77S95F in a typical family living room, and I'm going to walk you through what matters day to day, not just what the spec sheet says. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the core question most people ask: will this TV actually look better than my current 65-inch LED, and will I notice the difference enough to justify the extra square footage? The most noticeable change is the OLED panel itself. Because each pixel can turn off completely, blacks are truly black, and colors pop the way they would in a cinema. In a dimly lit room, you'll see that the contrast feels almost three-dimensional, especially when you watch a dark thriller or a nature documentary that relies on subtle shading. That immediate visual upgrade is the primary reason many buyers upgrade to OLED, and the Samsung S95F delivers it without the rainbow effect that some older OLEDs exhibited. But the real test is how it behaves in the everyday chaos of a home. I had the TV mounted on a standard swivel wall bracket, and the motion handling was smooth enough that fast-paced sports feel fluid, yet it didn't introduce the soap opera effect that some Samsung LED models add unintentionally. The built-in AI upscaling caught my old Blu-ray collection and made it look surprisingly fresh. You'll notice a boost in detail without the image looking artificially sharpened. For families with kids, the picture quality holds up under bright ambient light thanks to a fairly high peak brightness for an OLED. While it won't outshine a dedicated high-end QLED in bright daylight, everyday living room lighting is no longer a problem. Who should buy this? If you're a movie enthusiast, a gamer who values low input lag, or anyone who wants the best possible picture for streaming services, the S95F is a solid match. The TV includes a dedicated game mode that drops input lag to the low single-digit range, which is a practical benefit if you're trying to compete in fast react shooters. The built-in HDR10 Plus support also means you'll see more nuance on Netflix and Amazon Prime without having to tweak settings every night. On the other hand, someone who primarily watches daytime news from a bright window might not extract enough value to offset the price premium, especially when a good 4K LED can be bright enough for that usage. Now, the practical strengths that shape daily life. First is the smart platform. Samsung's Tizen OS has matured into a fairly intuitive hub. You can launch Netflix, Disney+, or YouTube with a single click on the remote, and the voice assistant will remember your favorite apps. The Vision AI feature learns the lighting in your room over time and subtly adjusts the screen's brightness and color temperature. In my experience, it works well enough that I rarely need to tweak the picture settings manually. Second, the sound system, while not a full-blown home theater setup, benefits from a built-in upward-firing speaker array that creates a modest sense of height. When you watch a film with a Dolby Atmos track, you'll get a surprising sense of space without adding a soundbar right away. There are a few trade-offs that deserve a mention. OLEDs, by nature, have a risk of burn-in if static images remain on the screen for extended periods, and Samsung mitigates this through a pixel shift feature that nudges the image ever so slightly every few minutes. In practice, it's subtle, but anyone who runs a news ticker or uses the TV as a digital picture frame should be aware of this limitation. Another practical weakness is the port layout. While the TV offers 4 HDMI 2.1 inputs great for future-proofing with next-gen consoles, the one on the side is a legacy HDMI 2.0. Which can be confusing if you're trying to connect a third device that also needs the higher bandwidth for 4K 120Hz. You'll need to plan your cable management ahead of time. Finally, the remote control, though sleek, still feels a bit cramped for people with larger hands, and the lack of a dedicated number pad means you'll end up using the on-screen keyboard more often than you'd like when searching for obscure titles. From a value standpoint, the price point sits at the higher end of the premium market, but the combination of OLED picture quality, robust AI upscaling, and a future-ready HDMI 2.1 suite means you're paying for longevity as much as for today's visuals. If you're willing to stretch your budget a bit now to avoid upgrading again in 2 to 3 years, the S95F offers that kind of long-term peace of mind. Conversely, if you're looking for a bargain or plan to replace the TV within a short window, you might find better cost-to-performance ratios on other brands that still deliver good 4K HDR, just without the absolute black depth. In practice, I